tension today, the Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said on Saturday, May 18, the country will vigorously defend what is ours, in a thinly veiled reference to mounting tensions with China over maritime disputes. The conduct against intruders disrespecting Philippine territorial integrity will be guided by law and the responsibility as a rules-abiding member of the international community, Marcos said in a speech to graduating military cadets. Against intruders who have been disrespecting our territorial integrity, we will vigorously defend what is ours, Marcos said. He did not identify the intruders, but Manila and Beijing have been in escalating standoffs in the South China Sea, including China's use of a water cannon that resulted in injuries and property damage, a military-grade laser directed at Philippine vessels, and what the Philippines calls dangerous maneuvers in the disputed waterway. China claims almost all of the South China Sea, a conduit for $3 trillion in annual shipborne trade, including parts claimed by the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam. A 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration found that China's sweeping claims have no legal basis. The Philippines will purchase 5 patrol vessels from Japan amid growing tensions in the South China Sea. The deal will be financed through a Japanese loan worth about 23.9 billion pesos, $415 million, and was signed by Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and Japanese Ambassador Endo Kazuya, the Philippine Foreign Affairs Department said in a statement on its website Friday. This occasion signifies not only the deepening of bilateral relations between the Philippines and Japan, but also underscores our unwavering commitment to enhance our maritime safety capabilities for the benefit of our nation and the broader maritime community, Manalo said. The Philippines is beefing up its naval resources as tensions escalate with China over the South China Sea. Japan, together with Australia and the United States, affirmed their position in April that a 2016 South China Sea Arbitral Tribunal award that favored the Philippines over China in their maritime dispute as final and legally binding. Under the loan program, Japan previously agreed to provide the Southeast Asian country with 10 44-meter-long patrol ships in 2013 and 2 97-meter-long vessels in 2016. Deliveries of the just-announced 5 ships are expected to take place between 2027 and 2028. Last December, the Philippine Coast Guard said it would build a facility in Subic Bay of Luzon Island for use by the procured large patrol ships. Meanwhile, some ASEAN members are seen as laggards in the negotiations, not fully committed to the process, not believing they have much at stake in the disputes. One ASEAN negotiator explained that some ASEAN negotiators turn up ill-prepared, often needing to consult their capitals for instructions on almost every discussion point, hampering progress despite meetings being held 5 and 6 times annually. Re-humor has taken hold, with jokes about another agreement between ASEAN and China within the next few years to accelerate further the already accelerating process for the early conclusion of an effective and substantive COC. The second issue concerns the quality of the outcome. There are doubts whether China will be willing to sign a legally binding agreement, given that it has already dismissed the outcome of the Permanent Court of Arbitration's ruling in 2016 against its claims in the South China Sea. Should that hurdle be overcome, there are concerns about implementation of the code. Will there be an effective mechanism to monitor and enforce any violation? If not, what does the code amount to? And also, given that ASEAN operates with a consensus decision-making process, will the deadline push ASEAN members to water down the substance of the agreement? Talks on the Code of Conduct, it must be acknowledged, are only part of the broader ASEAN engagement with China on the South China Sea. ASEAN's efforts with China stretch back years to 1990, when Indonesia held the first workshop on the South China Sea involving the different claimants. In the decades since, there have been efforts to engage in joint cooperation on extracting resources and protecting the environment in the disputed waters. Yet, 34 years on, militarization has been the dominant theme. China's artificial islands bristle with military facilities and long runways. Beijing has adopted a more aggressive approach to asserting its claims, lacing, using water cannons, and ramming against other claimants' boats. Vietnam has expanded its presence and deployed missiles. The Philippines is seeking to fortify its position. So setting a deadline for negotiations on a code of conduct doesn't necessarily hasten an agreement. Meantime, ASEAN claimants should continue to build up their capabilities and work with other external powers, such as Australia and Japan, to defend their maritime interests. Sometimes, the potential ability to inflict military pain on the other party may be just the instrument for diplomacy to work well.